Tremonti, Marching in Time. Finally! Y'all know how I am about Tremonti, guys. Anyone who's known about this channel since its Facebook days when I got the chance to talk about Cauterize. That was my first review, so yeah, y'all know how I feel about Tremonti. Going back, I did a discography run leading up to this. I was excited to do it. And, I get it now. I get why people are still all up on All I Was. And I totally even more so understand why people like of the two albums that did the dual session albums that were from that one studio session with Wolfgang in Dust. Besides the title track, obviously. Hold on, let me adjust this. Okay. And yeah, this being their fifth studio album of technically a solo project for Mark Tremonti, famously known for his times in Creed and Alter Bridge. Most notably. Of course. This project being him allowing himself to get all his more metallic anguish, specifically his love for the old school, new wave, traditional and new wave of British heavy metal stuff, more in line to that of speed, thrash, more specifically taking the alternative metal post-grunge era form of alt metal, specifically of the more hard rock variety, and fringing more closer into the metal scene, more specifically his roots in speed, thrash, and groove. And in recent years, even more so since Fortress, and moments that have started to seep in from his times from the AB3 and Fortress days, and even sort of onward with Alter Bridge. Some of those moments, though a seemingly amalgamation of that in Creed, or at least the aspects of Creed that do hold up, that is because of Tremonti and the rest of the band, if we're being honest, is very much still present. Here, I was a little not sure, given how A Dying Machine turned out. I liked it, don't get me wrong. I've cooled a bit, I admit, to the point where I understand if some people are considering it. I wouldn't know if I would use the term his worst, or rather his... Nor will I say least interesting, because he did come up with an interesting concept that the unfortunate part is you have to fill in the gaps with a book, and if you can't find that book, you're kind of fucked. Music's still fine, but I mean, given I had to go through my discography one, my fondness for that album changed a bit since the year it had come out, which I guess was 2019, I think. Or is it 2018? I think it was 2019, come to think of it. It was definitely one of the better years. The past couple years, so that was fun to have to listen to stuff. Yeah, it was. That's even more ironic because Devin Townsend's also coming up with an album. Figure that. Though this time now, finally, Devin Townsend comes with an album and no Skillet until next year. Decided to dodge that bullet now, didn't you? Because you knew you weren't going to live up to it. I could already tell from the first single, guys. Sorry, Skillet fans. It's whatever. We're not here to talk about them. We're here to talk about Tremonti and how awesome they are. Unless about my disappointment in that other band. But Marching in Time, I heard the first single, I liked it. I had a weird experience with what is the last track on this album. And I kind of happened to me again a second listen. I don't know if it's just something with how my ears went in my head, or how it just panned out with where my ears are right now, but something was up with that solo. But I mean, I've cooled a little bit on it, and I realized it was just the way I listened to it, because I was listening to it a second time, the track. And I like it actually now even more so despite even this my recent misgivings with the soul. But I can't say anything on it in terms of the fact that Tremonti will still, despite it, even through, or at least maybe they tried to do a fuzz pedal in it, maybe, for that solo. I don't know. I'm still figuring that out, dude. But, or at least a fuzzy sort of half-cocked wah. I'm trying to figure out what he tried to do with that, but even though maybe it's just a normal wah thing, I don't know. But now hold on. But yeah, I like this. I love this. I liked what we got off of this album here. But yeah, World Away was a great way to open it. I was a little worried because of the track listing they had for the EP. That was essentially them putting all the singles in one basket and how that was arranged. And apparently the first, like, 3 of the singles are what starts this album, but it's not in the arrangement that it was on there, thank God, because The World Away was a great way to open this album. Now and Forever I like a lot more than when I first heard it, coming into this week's album. And I love how they rearranged that, Now and Forever, and If Not For You, which was a late single, together, and how they made it the 1, 2, 3 punch it needed to be. And the other tracks, Thrown Further and Let That Be Us, showed that this album is still pretty heavy, but it's not. But then The Last One of Us shows that that is the first track that shows that they're not afraid to still do ballads. They're just not going to be as frequent on this specific album. And they're going to focus more on the heavier stuff. And the way this album comes off, even in a production standpoint, which is a good thing because I'm considering them my top 2 albums, is they focus seemingly more on Dust's more harder, darker, aggressive sound, or at least bringing elements of that layered on top of the kind of production they had on the first album, All I Was. So, and I dig it for that. Personally, or at least that's what I got out of it. You know, I'm just to each his own about it. But whether or not of the Michael Elvis Biscuit related artists that have come out lately, produced and mixed artists, and it's having just also recently with a buddy of mine listening to the Mammoth Wolfgang. I don't know if I like this more than that or not. What I can tell you is I like it more than A Dying Machine. No question. I just don't know if I want to put it above Carterize for that reason of Wolfgang's involvement in that. Because there's some of that had played a part in why the Wolfgang album sounds as good as it does to me. It just does for me, IMO obviously, but yeah, guys, I'm so sorry about that. I'm just going to have to hold this thing here. I'm sorry, guys, for the lighting there. But, yeah, I love some of the heavy moments, and even the way the riffing comes off. Like, you can kind of tell. I'm starting to wonder that ever since Carterize, since Mark toured during the Carterize tour they did they toured with Trivium. And they might have started to learn to take cues from Trivium's sound, because technically there's some slight similarities in the tones between the two of them, in a certain way. Probably because they do probably take from, because technically both have their influences in groove metal as well as thrash in their sounds, but one is more melodic metalcore and the other's closer in line to speed metal, and moments of power. Well, not that, I mean, at least when it came to the Silence in the Snow time. So maybe something about that also helped with Mark vocally as well. Step up his game with his cleans specifically. So, because I do hear a little bit of that in a way, which in that regard, this album will be a good tiny little morsel for people who do like Trivium to have something, and like Alter Bridge as well, to have something to kind of hold them over, that are the Alter Bridge Creed type fans that have been around like me for a while, while having also gotten into Trivium recently. Sonically, it's more lenient in that way, but yeah. Or at least it feels like it is, and they're starting to take some similar progressive tendencies that Trivium's starting to do as well, not just the stuff that he's done through Alter Bridge. And I'm liking some of these riffs for that reason. I mean, it does have that sort of feel to it, but you can tell it's still Michael Bisquet that always helps add something in his production, a little studio magic of sorts to help elevate what Mark wants out of this album. And it's mostly, I think, at this point, I think Whitlock left so he could work with Wolfgang, apparently, to be honest with you, because he's touring with him. And it seems now it leaves the only OG members of this project, besides Mark, is Eric Friedman. And it's just mostly them with the guitars and creatively and stuff. So, and I like it. In one piece is pretty cool, especially the way they handle the chorus with these nice little start-stop moments. That's pretty cool. And Bleak... I was surprised how bleak it actually started to sound, but I wasn't sure where they were going to go. But I really kind of like the way they handled the chorus on that song, too. Not Afraid to Lose is actually... it's kind of a charming song, in a way. Under Sun's pretty heavy as well. I also like that and Let That Be Us is pretty good, too, about it. Which is more of a balance between the heavier... The softer and heavier sides, which I like. I like how they handle it here, and Would You Kill should have really a question mark because of the way that it's titled in the lyrics. Which I can't pull up immediately. Sorry. Something about would you kill, would you beg, steal, or borrow? Some too. That's, I know, is one of the lines in it, but it makes more sense when you hear the whole chorus. But yeah, and Marching in Time is a great way to end this in a sort of weirdly optimistic kind of way, compared to, especially coming off of tracks like essentially like Bleak and Would You Kill. So, if you're going to title a song called Would You Kill, you gotta be you gotta live up to a certain level of heavy. And it is. And I feel like it does cap itself off. And which makes sense given it is the longest track and save it. I would say I like it in terms of the Tremonti songs. I think they wanted it to be like a Dust thing. Or at least I love the way the chorus and everything. It's trying to be optimistic, especially with how the bleakness of what has happened with this world and everything. It's like, don't let this cold world change. Especially with lyrics that should show up here, but aren't showing up right now for me on some stupid reason. Don't let this cold world change you. Don't ever go astray. I love how they try to be optimistic in the way they do handle these lyrics. But overall, I just think that so far Tremonti just technically hasn't really, upon every time the albums have been released at the very least, they haven't disappointed. And this is another case of that. Because at the very least I could say thumbs up, and I wish I could go masterclass with this album, but I don't know if I could say that just yet, given what I feel about Dust and all I was at this point, even to the point of how I'm willing to somewhat defend Carterize over this a little bit. But over time, I might like this one over Carterize. But who knows? But it's a thumbs up. Horns for sure, no matter what. Tremonti did it again. I think he might have used his 100 amp. The 100 watt signature of that amp that we've yet to see happening. I don't know if the amp it probably might be the same thing as the small amp, really, but just a bigger package. Who knows? Or at least it's trying to be a weird combination between the Archon and his setup he has for his specific rectifier, dual rectifier. That he uses a lot, so. But, anyways. Which I do wonder if the Archon is something the Archon and the EVH amps or something he's mixed together to make it work, I guess, for some of the tones he decided to go for, I guess. Who knows? What did you guys... But that's my thoughts. I heavily enjoyed it. I'm not sure I want it to be on the list, but I might make honorable mentions given the way this year's been going, dude. So, and it's not the band's fault. It's just this how this year wound up turning out around August. So, what did you guys think of the new Tremonti record? Did you like it as much as me? Where would you rank it in your albums? Leave a comment below, let me know. If you like this video, rock that like button with thrust if you must. As always, guys, click the also link in the description. But also click the notification. Hit the subscribe button. Click the notification bell to see more of my videos. Link in the description of my Facebook page so I can follow me there. And as always, guys, keep it random. Keep it random. Keep it real. Keep it rocking. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care, y'all.